Welcome to Game Club, the premier podcast that's like a book club but for video games. I'm your star captain, Dan.
I'm Josh. I'm the super special guest podcaster, and I'm a game designer as well.
Yes, you are. And I'm Charles, avid tabletop gamer.
Welcome to episode 11. With our special guest this week, we played FTL, Faster Than Light. So, Josh, before we get started into the discussion about the game, obviously you're replacing our other very special co-host, Catherine, but can you give us a bit of a rundown of your bona fides of why you were chosen to be on the podcast?
So my day job is game designing. So I'm working at EA in Melbourne. And so, I guess I have a different insight into the process. So that should hopefully help.
And we just like you better than Catherine.
Well, I feel like I've heard my name mentioned in the podcast before.
I dare say so. We throw people's name around all the time without asking permission. It's kind of our thing.
Yeah,
good. And as our special guest, do you want to give us just a brief overview of what FTL is? And then we'll go into our Nerd Week.
Sure. So it's basically kind of a roguelike space game with, I guess you've got a crew and you've got all of your different ships and rooms and weapons, and you're basically moving your way across the galaxy trying to not die and answer questions, sort of a little bit like what Solar Sea was like, with maybe a little bit more action. Yeah,
I think it's pretty good summary of FTL, and we'll be talking about that in this week's episode. But first, we're going to go into each of our Nerd Week. Charles, we'll start off with you. How's your Nerd Week been?
My Nerd Week's been pretty good. I'll try not to cover lots of group events and hence take everything away from everyone else. So I did a board game testing day. I took my board game, which is in the testing phase at the moment, which is very exciting. So I've got components ready for it, and I've tested it a few times, and a local game store was having a testing day. So there were about 5 of us, and we all brought along the games we were working on that were in different stages. From a guy kind of had an idea and wanted to flesh it out with us, and some others were really professional and kind of right near their end phase. So I took my game along and we played it, and we had a great time, and people were laughing and having fun, and it was really successful. And I got some great ideas on how I can improve it and wrote down notes, and was really satisfied with the whole experience. So that was really, really good. I was really excited that it actually worked, and I wasn't embarrassed in front of all these board game nerds, because that would be the worst thing ever, and they would judge me and throw bricks through my window. So that was that. I've also been getting into Rick and Morty. For anyone that's anybody and has a soul, has been watching Rick and Morty season 3. I think episode 4 actually dropped tonight, which is exciting. So I'll hopefully be able to watch that soon. But I finally got around on the weekend watching some Rick and Morty, and it was fantastic. It did not disappoint. So that's always nice. Things tend to drop off as the seasons go on, but I think episodes 1 to 3 have been fantastic. What do you guys think so far?
I've watched the first 3. Josh, I know you don't like any kinds of spoilers, so you up to date on that? We probably won't actually talk about the content.
I sure am, and I watched the 4th one today because I was homesick, so I'm even further ahead.
How exciting. Very good. So that was good, and then also I had my 30th birthday party, which was exciting, and that is relevant to Nerd Week because I got lots of nerd presents. So I got some Lego Star Wars, I got some other gaming goodies, I got lots of wine, which isn't nerdy, but I'll drink it while putting Star Wars Lego together. And
you also had a Star Wars cake.
Yeah, there was a Star Wars cake. Most excitingly is, as the big group present that everyone got me, which is adorable, it's a kind of dress up photo shoot where I dress up as Darth Vader. There's a Darth Vader costume and a tiny little Princess Leia costume for my daughter Izzy, and we're going to dress up and we're going to do a photo shoot together, and it's going to be the most nerdy, adorable thing that a father and his child have ever done. So I'm super excited about it.
I just realized I realized earlier today, thinking about that present, are you going to wear the full mask? So it could be anyone in that suit, right?
It could be. And I'm actually going to have a stunt double for when I get too hot, and they're gonna step in with my daughter and take pictures.
Well, I wonder if you can put the helmet under the arm and then do makeup so that your face looks all
all
gross,
white and freaky. That definitely won't freak my daughter out. That's an excellent plan. So yeah, there's going to be lots of different things going on, but I'm sure there'll be a mix of helmet on and helmet off. But the best thing is that I realized I'll have the costume for a few days, not just the photo shoot. So
try and ease her into it instead of just scaring her by putting on a giant black helmet.
Yeah, that's it. And everything else I do over those few days while I have it, I will be Darth Vader for it. So going to the park with the munch, Darth Vader. At home, watching TV, Darth Vader. Getting in the bedroom, Darth Vader. The wife hasn't agreed to that one yet, but I got big plans. So yeah, that's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me, and that'll be amazing.
That shoot's being done by friend of the show, isn't it?
It certainly is, by Emily.
Emily McCoy.
What's her Twitter?
Friend of the show. We'll put a link in the show notes. She takes photos for us.
Photography, perhaps?
Yes.
That sounds good.
She's taken photos for us at PAX and done a bunch of really cool shoots, and takes photos for those pole dancing shows and things like that. So I think she's ready to go for the next level of hotness, which is Charles in a Vader outfit.
I don't think anyone's ready for that level of hotness, Dan, but we'll see. We will soon find out. And Catherine's going to come along and help with the shoot too, so it should be a hilarious day. And that is my Nerd Week.
Cool. Well, my Nerd Week also included my birthday, which was 2 weeks ago. Wasn't as nerdery as Charles. I didn't have a Star Wars cake, but we did play D&D on the day itself. And since then, I've had a big board game delivery.
Yes.
So we got all sorts of goodness. Codename Pictures, Merchants and Marauders, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, the blue edition, of course.
Blue, definitely. I was a Pokemon Blue guy, so it had to be Legacy Blue.
Were you Team Mystic as well?
I think so.
I think I chose Team Mystic.
Yeah, we were Team Mystic. Yep, that's how you
guys.
Terraforming Mars, the Others Beta Team Box, Time Stories Expedition Endurance, Time Stories Lumen Fidei, and Time Stories Under the Mask. So a bunch of awesome board games, and quite a few that you play with the same group, and that's kind of the group you stick with, like Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories. So that's a lot of fun. Hopefully we can actually find time to play them now that they're taking up shelf space. Yeah,
well, we've already got a day booked. I think 10th of September. By the way, Josh, we've locked that in. You're now
good.
You're now committed to that. Surprise.
So from what I know about the ones that I ordered as part of that, a lot of them were, and watch me butcher this, the Spiel des Jahres winners or runner-ups. So that was kind of a cool, you look at the winners of that Game of the Year award in Germany, and it's kind of a good way to base some decisions since there's so many board games around.
Very much is. For those that don't know what the Spiel des Jahres, or how the hell you pronounce that, German, who speaks German, there's a games convention essentially in Germany, which is the biggest board game convention in the world, I think, and they're kind of the awards that are attached to that. And that's, I think, what you're referring to and what you base your decision off, which is very exciting. They should be good.
They tend to be really good quality. It's the premiere. It's the Oscars of board games, if you will.
It is indeed.
Nice. And then my final bit of Nerd Week is I finally beat Witcher 3.
That's big.
The main story. So that was really exciting. Many hours sunk into that and a couple of false starts. But now I'm ready to get on into the expansions and keep slaying those monsters.
Forever. Witcher 3 forever. What is a false start in The Witcher? Just spec wrong?
No, I was playing.
You slept with the wrong chick. Is that it?
Not at all. I was playing on Emma's version on GOG, as it's a DRM free service, and I was like, I'll install it on my computer as well and give this game a shot. How good could it be? And then I got pretty deep in, and then GOG was having a sale where it was you could get Witcher 3 and all the expansions for 75% off. So I was like, oh, you know what? I really want to do this. I've already sunk heaps of time into this game. I want to support this game. Bought it. However, the Game of the Year edition that I bought, my save files were not compatible with the one I'd been playing, so I had to start again. But I think it was still worth it, just knowing what I'd already learnt over the bunch of hours I'd sunk in. I was able to get back up to where I was pretty quickly and make smarter decisions and things like that as well. So,
So were you playing on PC?
Yeah, playing on PC, but with an Xbox controller.
And did you do any research into porting save games? 'Cause I know it is a possibility on some things.
Yeah, there were some mods that were like, you can install this to try and port your save games across. But I thought, you know what, I'll just start fresh, work on achievements as well, and go from there. Because it was either that or I had to buy the standalone game and the 2 expansions to make them fit. So it was, I just decided to go ease of use and just get the Game of the Year edition and start again.
The game's such a treat. I mean, replaying it is hardly a punishment. So, very good. Josh, what did you get up to in your nerd week?
So, I mean, tying in a little bit to those, one thing I didn't mention before when we were discussing this was that I also finished a long-running game. I've been playing Mass Effect Andromeda, which I know everyone panned, but I think
they did.
I kind of, I'm a fan of the series, and I think it did okay. It's probably not my favorite one, but it is one of those like invest 1 million hours and get the kind of story payoff. So that was a triumph. And on the Rick and Morty that you mentioned, Charles, there's the Pocket Morty's game that they've got out on, I think, Android and iOS.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's basically Pokemon, but with Mortys as your Pokemon, and that's quite funny. But it is also very very light on content. So
yeah, I did play some Pocket Morty. It didn't hold me for long.
No.
Then neither did Magikarp, and you invested a lot into that. So I feel like you have the patience for mobile games.
I do. And working in mobile games, I've kind of gotten sunken into it a lot more than the average kind of person. So yeah, I've done those things. And another cool thing that I did with some other friends was a sci-fi escape room that they had in, I think, Coburg in Melbourne.
That's close.
Are you not sure where it is because they put a black bag over your head and then drove you there? So it was a real like escape life or death situation.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is I don't know the north very well, so I'm going to call it Coburg. But the other thing was they didn't give the address until you had booked. It's kind of a slightly secret thing. It wasn't very hard to find. Google had all the details already, but I like the sentiment.
Yeah, Melbourne. Nice.
Yeah. And so, that was a kind of had a quick briefing and then led into this kind of quite homemade looking, but kind of lots of heart and charm version of a spaceship kind of engine room. And there was an AI that was running the show called Columbus. And the kind of a variant on a normal escape room where you kind of chatted to the AI and had to answer his questions and kind of get prompting, and the puzzles were designed that way, and it was quite good. I think I'd recommend that.
So you didn't have to kill and eat your team, like you made it out alive?
We did make it out alive. I think we're 4 from 4 in Melbourne at the moment.
Nice.
Escape room champions.
All right, escape room, step up your game. Josh is laying down the challenge.
That's it. There has to be a really hard one out there somewhere. They got to throw down the gauntlet.
Well, what we were talking about was maybe if there was kind of varying degrees of success, like you could kind of get a score, and then it would be more about, everyone finishes, but certain people that are kind of really good at the puzzles or really good at being fast can kind of piece together the extra things or collect the extra whatever. And add a challenge.
Each one of them should have a unique badge, and then you could get all 8 badges and then challenge the Elite 4.
Right.
Who are the best 4-person escape room team.
Really, if everything had badges attached to it, it'd make it a lot more enjoyable. Like if there was a, domestic government badge, and you got a badge when you did your tax, and you got a badge when you updated your,
your enrollment
Medicare details. Yeah, and you have enrolled. That's the next badge.
You voted.
Slight tangent. The China apparently has something fairly similar to that, which is kind of the good citizen game, where you it's very kind of Black Mirror sounding in that. Yeah, it kind of rewards you for being a good citizen.
The reward is your family not ending up in jail. But, that's great too. That's really fun. Yeah.
I mean, I say this and I haven't looked into it in too much detail, but it sounds quite full on and quite fascinating.
I want to see the Australian version of that now. Like, you get points for having Vegemite on your toast, or saying really bizarre Ocker slang just in everyday conversation.
I feel like we're now celebrating mediocrity, but that's all right. That's my life, so why not?
Yeah,
Cool.
But yeah, overall,
Good nerding.
That's my nerd week too.
Very good nerd week. Well done, nerd team.
All right, so now we're going to go into some news. Charles didn't do the news.
I didn't do the music.
News.
Yes! So much better than Catherine.
Right?
Josh is on every week from now on.
I've been paying
Maybe
attention.
just for the news bit. Good enough.
We'll just record that bit and have it repeat. So
I can be a guest every week.
Exactly.
Yes.
Big esports news for those of you who listen to the show on the reg. You know that Dan, me, that's the esports boy. There's a big esports tournament called the International Dota 2 Championships.
It is the esports championship, you could say.
That's right. It was a $24 million prize pool. And so the top team walked away with $10.8 million US as their prize. And the second team got $3.9 million for second place. What's interesting about this is obviously it's huge event, big crowd, lots of people watching online. But by all accounts, the game was a bit of a stomp. Like the winning team won sort of 3-0, so it wasn't a super interesting game to watch for a lot of people.
That's disappointing.
What's more interesting, though, is that because they're trying to legitimize esports a lot more, they're trying to take pieces from regular sports competition and get these esport competitors to do that.
Right, so how we've been talking about it, how there's that whole thing and they should get on board.
Yeah, well, maybe some things they need to leave alone. So they got the team to try and open a bottle of champagne to kind of do the spray a bottle of champagne in celebration thing.
And they didn't have a practice first, or
I don't think they had a practice first because they couldn't get that, the metal cage that goes around the cork. They couldn't figure out how to get that off for a while. So everyone's just sort of waiting there.
Amazing.
To try and open this bottle of champagne.
See, unlike Italian sports car drivers, if you're an Italian sports car driver, you have often opened bottles of champagne and poured them over women. That's a Tuesday for you. Yeah. These nerds have never seen a bottle of champagne in their life, so that would be difficult. I can appreciate how challenging that would be. So, sure, yeah.
Surely you've seen it on TV.
But they don't normally open the bottle of wine on TV, right? Surely someone should have handed them a bottle of wine ready to go.
Well, yeah.
Pop that bad boy off.
So the organizers obviously aren't very experienced in this kind of thing either. They were trying something new and it backfired heinously.
And they didn't do a shoey either. A shoey probably would have been acceptable.
Oh, sweaty nerd feet. I don't know about that.
At the Grand Prix and all, those Italian race car drivers. Although, to be fair,
sweaty too.
They get a brand new shoe.
They would.
Because they're probably sponsored by Nike or something and do that.
And you have to pause at a certain angle for the cameras to get the Nike logo as you drink from it.
Yeah.
I wonder though, being a, sitting down playing at a computer type sport, I wonder if they wear shoes. They definitely have matching t-shirts, but that's probably as far as we know.
Well, they have to walk out of that big glass box on stage.
Sure.
But do you reckon they kick their shoes off while they're playing? Because that's just what they're used to.
That's
how
more
I play
comfortable.
most of my games, yeah.
I hate wearing shoes. I avoid it at all possible. Maybe they have inside socks, like my inside sock theory. Very, very reasonable.
Or maybe Ugg boots if it's kind of cold. Although I think it's in Vegas, so probably not.
Probably not.
So esports, you're getting there. You're getting closer. You're getting a lot of respect. But there's still just a couple of things you need to work out the kinks in.
Or stick in your lane. That's an option.
Yeah.
I think they've got lots to learn from the kind of mainstream sports media stuff because they've been doing it for a long time and they've got. I imagine most of the players have even media coaching and all that sort of stuff. So. It seems like they probably need to take a lot of cues from the people that have been doing it longer.
Oh, absolutely. I think they are starting to get that kind of stuff, especially these teams which are now winning millions of dollars at a yearly tournament. They're they're raking it in. Their sponsorships would be pretty solid for those teams like Team Liquid and stuff. But yeah, I think maybe just the organizers of these kind of competitions need to realize their audience and I don't know, maybe try to create your own celebratory thing instead of just stealing something from somewhere else without thinking it through.
Like throwing controllers into the crowd or something.
Yeah, I mean, just throwing boxed keyboards and just going like, you get a keyboard, you get a keyboard. This was the keyboard I won the game with, right? Throwing that out into the crowd.
Nuts for that shit.
Spraying each other down with pixels makes sense.
Yeah.
Or even just throwing out cards to free skins, because all these games have like in-game purchases. So I assume you can just like frisbee stuff out into the crowd that way.
Well, I know the League of Legends booth at PAX had that. They were just spewing free kind of skin cards and everything, like Tic Tacs.
People were fighting for them and gouging at each other's eyes for their sweet skins. Yeah, it's perfect.
So yeah, that's my news for the week. Pretty big news.
Huge news.
So annoyingly, I had basically prepared news in the same vein. It's all anyone will talk about at work. Mostly I could look around the room and have maybe 2 out of 3 screens would have the international running on the second monitor.
Oh, wow. There you go. That's huge.
Yeah, just, I don't know. It's kind of the environment where we're allowed to do things like that. But there was a few little controversy points. Like there was a few people upset that Day 9 was the kind of host, even though he's not he's traditionally quite a long
caster, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's not a long-term Dota 2 player. And so kind of people were maybe a little bit upset that he'd taken over the spot from potentially someone that could have been a Dota 2 specific celebrity, but
like Toby won Dota.
Sure.
Sure, man. Yep. He's my favorite.
Yeah, one of the ones there are. I don't claim to know any of them, but and I thought it was interesting that they basically went with who would be a solid kind of just media person that has the right cultural understanding, but isn't necessarily a super experienced Dota 2 person.
So they sold out. That's what you're saying. Sold out.
I think it was probably a good decision, really. Like, I mean, getting the person that has the best buzz and has maybe the best kind of presenting demeanor is probably the good call.
Yeah, Day 9's a guy that moved to South Korea and became like a professional. Was it him and his brother, I think, are both sort of professional StarCraft 2 commentators and casters and have been in the esports industry and champions of it for a long time, even so much as, moving overseas. I think as long as they know enough about the game, that's probably fine. They just need to also be a really good host and a really good entertainer, which is probably more important than knowing every single nitty-gritty detail about the game.
Yeah, and I mean, they have the extra, they're not the only people presenting, so they've got probably, hopefully, the experience behind them.
The color casters and the play-by-plays and
Or a separate room off to the side full of Dota people giving them cues to a microphone. I'd be happy with either.
That's what you want to see in your esports tournaments that you don't watch, Charles.
It is. Correct. I want to hear about it, though, Dan. I want to hear about it.
Yeah. So, and then I guess another kind of tiny riff on what's already happened in the show was looks like the Olympics are picking up on the considering esports as a sport, and people
as a
kind
real
of
sport for real people.
Yeah. But then when I kind of looked into it, there's some weird stuff around, early days of the Olympics, and for kind of the first 40 years or so, they had all sorts of kind of strange stuff around the arts. There was poetry and architecture medals awarded and all this sort of stuff. So
that's strange.
I mean, it's not in the super modern part of the Olympics, but it's not unprecedented. I just thought it would be kind of interesting that those categories are not so much necessarily fully physical athlete based, but still considered.
Well, if architecture can be a thing, then esports can definitely be a thing. That's the argument. That's what you go for.
If slam poetry can be part of the Olympics, I think we can have esports. But that goes to show you that stuff that is, we see the Olympics, the Olympics, of course, it was the ancient Greeks, and of course they had their curling and their bobsledding and their track and, and all this kind of stuff. But really, a lot of that stuff's really new.
Yeah, so why not add new things? Got to go with the trends. I guess if you got to maintain, well, the Olympics is having huge issues with money, so you got to maintain relevancy and stay current with what people want to watch. So that's what they're giving a shot, and let's see if it works for them.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, because I don't agree with professional sports, but that's neither here nor there.
Except unless they're esports, right?
Unless they're esports, I'm okay with that. Maybe. I'm still not sure yet. We'll see.
Still seems to be a lot of effort involved.
That's it. And the word sports.
So that's my cop-out news for the week.
Wonderful. Well, we gave you very little preparation time, so that's very fair enough. My news, it's not as exciting as Dota, but it's about sex robots.
You have my attention.
Right. So apparently there's a brothel in Austria. There's a few in Austria. Austria seems to be the place. No, it first opened in Barcelona. Okay, Europe. Let's go Europe as a whole. Although I imagine they're in Asia as well. We just don't hear about them. There's these sex robots in brothels, and they're becoming really popular. In fact, there's one in Austria. This is where the Austria comes in, that the sex robot is now more popular than the human sex people. Which is amazing. Yes, the prostitutes. That's what they're called. So it's crazy. And now they're trying to expand globally. And soon we're going to have sex robots everywhere. And that's my news.
I wonder why that would be the case. I mean, I suspect that the thing not having a personality that's kind of maybe takes away from if you're extramarital or anything like that. It's like, this isn't a person that I'm interacting with. This is just like a release. I wonder if that's a factor.
Justify it a bit more. I think too, because you can do anything with it, that becomes a factor, or you can dress it up how you want, or like it could be different nationalities. I don't know. It just a lot more customizable than a human.
Did we get a breakdown on the price difference? Because is it really A/B testing? Is it apples to apples here? Because
I think it's about half price.
Okay, so that might be why it's more. It's
Yeah, well, exactly. That's got to add to it.
That's definitely got to be a factor. People, I think, the convenience, but also, I don't know if people are really that shy. If the price was the same, you'd assume people would be like, oh no, like regular people.
Yeah,
I just want a human person. Is my flavor, but I don't know. Robots, hey, is the future. That's maybe. Is it going to put working people out of a job? Automation.
It's affecting every workplace, including the brothels. The person who was being interviewed for the article did note that they do thoroughly clean them and disinfect them after each use, which they felt was very important to mention, so we can all rest easy. And good to know, just in case you're thinking of sex roboting.
So I wonder if that ties into like the kind of VR being more and more common, popular, and accessible. In that, I mean, I guess if the hardware's there that can do what you need it to do, and you could augment that with literally any fantasy you can think of,
just lay
whether
it
that would kind of whether that would make a big difference.
Definitely makes a big difference. That's the future. In fact, I'm listening to Ready Player One audiobook at the moment, and that's a thing that happens in the Ready Player One. So there you go. It's the idea is out there.
The idea of VR. Yeah, thanks, Charles.
No, specifically the sex robot with the VR overlay.
Yeah. Now, it has become a thing, especially with those 360-degree cameras. It's sort of like a poor man's way of shooting VR content. And I think, is it Pornhub ends up putting out, one of those sites ends up putting out a data of what categories are becoming more and more popular or seeing the most growth each year. And VR or 360-degree porn is certainly on the rise. Just whether it's a novelty, who knows? But yeah, I guess almost every house probably has like a Google Cardboard or a Gear VR, just one of those really simple ones you put your phone in now. So
do they? I don't think they do. Every house, no. 10 years.
Well,
10 years VR will be.
Anyone with a new smartphone in the last 12 months would probably have one. I think they just give those things away for free.
Yeah, right. Well, so I'm looking at a new phone, and the Samsung 8 has a VR kind of thingy in it. You can get a head attachment thing for it quite cheap, so it's a real possibility.
You'll have to watch some porn and report back to Game Club Nights.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'll make a video of myself, and we can all watch it together.
I'm on board.
Chris.
Okay, Dan's in. Excellent. All right. And that's the news.
This is what happens when we don't have any girls on the podcast. We don't talk about robot Roombas and vibrators. We talk about robot sex robots.
Got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of space age future tech, let's get into this week's Game Club game, FTL. So FTL came out in September of 2012. It's a spaceship simulation roguelike. I never really know the difference between those two terms. I know some people take those terms very seriously. But essentially, as Josh said at the top of the show, you control a spaceship and sort of the crew in that spaceship. You've got this top-down view, and your goal is to get these super secret plans away from the rebellion and their massive fleet, and you've got to get it back to the last fleet of the Federation, I think.
Yeah, you're the Federation, and the rebellion are the evil guys.
Yeah, although the rebellion seems to have a much bigger fleet than you, so
yeah, I think they're encroaching on your space, and
right.
they're coming, and you're trying to get back to your big fleet.
So anyway, similarly to a previous episode of ours, Sunless Sea, your ship has a certain amount of fuel and a certain amount of ammo and things like that you have to manage, and you can purchase upgrades and unlocks or discover them through destroying other ships and making certain dialogue choices and whatnot as you try and get to Sector 8, I think, is the last one, and then you have a big boss battle. And how'd you guys go with this game? Josh, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, I mean, I played it for a bit a while ago, kind of more towards when it came out, and then picked it up again, yesterday when we were talking about the podcast. So I've kind of got an old opinion and a new opinion, and I definitely didn't. Well, I'm assuming that you guys kind of got a bit deeper into it than I did, but it's really that kind of. There's the frustration of I feel like the game just did me lucked me out of success here. Like just kind of that bad luck thing happening mixed with that's okay because I can just go again. So yeah, it's definitely a great game, and it's definitely super kind of polished and clean in that all the interactions are really easy to pick up. I picked it up yesterday and kind of understood everything immediately without any tutorials or anything. So yeah, it's definitely, I guess, kind of the most full-featured of the dialogue choice style game that I've played, at least in a while.
Yeah, it did have a lot of interesting parts where you'd have a dialogue choice, but then it'd give you extra dialogue choices if you had a certain thing installed or if you had a certain kind of creature on your ship.
Certainly would. Little like Bloodlines from way back when.
Vampire Bloodlines?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, or like some of those Fallout games, similar to those, where I was like, oh, you've got a med bay on your ship and it's level 2. Yeah, you now have access to this option. And had you played through it without a level 2 med bay, you wouldn't even see that option.
Yeah, correct. It's an adventure.
So going on to what Josh was saying, the game is quite difficult, and I think a lot of people enjoy that about these kind of games. I have beaten the game on easy, couldn't beat it on normal, didn't even try hard.
Yeah, so I played on normal to start with, and I think I made it. I didn't even make it out of the first sector because it was the first time I'd picked it up for ages, and I'm like, okay, we'll dial it back down to easy. So then I got to the end, which is exciting. I think at least the second time I got in there, and I got to the boss, and the boss just absolutely wiped me, because I guess I wasn't going in with a deep strategy or a way to combat it. But what it does do, even though it's quite harsh and quite a difficult game, is that it is really replayable. So you certainly have no issues with starting up another ship and another crew and having another shot, especially because it unlocks ships as you play, which is very exciting. Although I think to unlock the third ship, you do need to beat the boss. So that may get awkward if I can never do that and embarrassing. But maybe one day.
Yeah, I mean, I found that one thing that was really beneficial was kind of using the encroaching rebellion wave as that's how long I have in this sector, so I can kind of cover more planets than the bare minimum, and then you end up with a lot more shit, and that really helped kind of get pushed through a few. I think I got to sector 5. So yeah, that was. It's kind of you realize the strategy halfway through that like, I'm getting to these hard enemies and I don't have any things.
Yeah, you really need to. It's the competing tension. So you want to spend as much time in a sector as possible to get as many goodies, essentially, because when you destroy a ship, you get components or scrap, whatever they call it, supplies. You get more of it when you destroy ships. And I found out you get even more of it if you actually kill all the people on a ship without destroying their ship, because you can then take what you want and take your time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for my next playthrough, I'm actually going to focus around teleporting into opponents' ships and killing all the people so I can get max scrap and then get max good weapons. That's my plan.
I discovered that strategy as well. Just having a look at my played here on Steam, it's 125 hours.
That is decent. And this is like, what, a $10 game? And you've sunk that long into it. It just shows how replayable it is.
And it's one of those games, as Josh said, like you'll be playing, and you get pretty far, and you're like, I'm on a really good run. And then you kind of either get cornered or you've been playing too bold with your, I'm going to hit some more areas and get some more scrap.
Get greedy.
Then you run out of fuel, or you get, and you start having to make decisions that aren't favorable because you're like, oh crap, I've got to get to this store, I've got to buy fuel, and so on. But yeah, I discovered that if you send your units to the other ship or teleport to the other ship, kill all the crew, you can take your time and get more scrap that way, which is great.
Yep.
But if you go too hard down that path, some ships get really tough to beat, like the automated ones that don't have a crew.
Yeah.
So it is still balanced in that way. So you still need to have other solutions. And also you kind of want a diverse crew, right? Like the mantis creatures, the bug creatures, really good at fighting, so they're the ones you want to send across.
Yep.
But you'll still need maybe an NG to repair, or a human because they're kind of all-rounded, or
the little
whatever.
energy dudes. Energy dudes are the best.
Those are my favorite. Yeah.
Are they the ones that suck the
power the room that they're in?
Oh, they power the room they're in. Okay, I'm thinking of there's another one, the crystal guys, who might only be in the expansion.
Ooh.
They suck all the oxygen out of the room that they're in.
Yeah, right.
And they don't suffocate. So you can send them over to enemy rooms, and they'll suck oxygen out of the room that they're in to help you sort of deal with enemies.
That's very cool. Little strategies, and that comes into what I think is the best thing about this game, is that for something that's so it's small but polished. I certainly, when I say small, I don't mean that it's a bad thing, but it's very limited in its design, which is great because they've done that on purpose. But it's clean. It's clean. The flexibility you have with different strategies and different tactics in every different playthrough is huge for such a small game that seems very simple from the outset. There's a lot of different ways to play it, which I think is super impressive. So yeah, that's what I think is most good about FTL.
Did you guys have a favorite ship to play as, or a favorite sort of, if you saw a type of crew member or a type of laser or something, you're like, oh, I have to have that? Or is it more just, I'll get what I can get?
I got stuck into the ion thing after I noticed that it, like what it did, in that you could just turn things off. And
that sounds convenient.
Yeah, it was really, really helpful. And I think the second ship, the Taurus, the circle one, comes with that by default. That's its kind of primary thing. And so you just end up turning things off while your little droid things fly around and blow shit up. And that was, it was quite rewarding, and it felt good, like you're kind of being efficient and killing the baddies good. But I seem to never get very far with that. So yeah, I wonder how the balance lines up with. I
tried the ion, and I actually was the exact opposite. So I did like 3 encounters with my ion cannon, and I'm like, this thing's trash. I'm done. I'm done with ion.
But were you using your droid?
Not well.
Drone? Because the thing is, the ion doesn't actually do whole damage, so you're just going to lose.
Yeah, I was using the droid, but I couldn't get past the shield. I probably wasn't timing it right. I guess there's skill to it as well, not just with like what weapons you've got, but you have to time the weapons and use them at different moments, and whether the shield's up or not, and target different rooms. There's kind of a skill to every encounter, and they can vary depending on what ship you're facing. But there you go. My favorite was the flak cannon.
That just sends like a bunch of debris at them.
Yeah, it's like 7 shots at once and just utterly overwhelms them in one. That was pretty cool, but it takes like 20 seconds to charge up. So all the different weapons have different charge times, which once again comes into your different strategies. So that was pretty rad. But I liked drones as well. I thought drones were pretty nifty.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of drones because I like being more in control of when my shots are going to go off. So if you have like a laser drone, it's not getting through the shields, and if you break down the shields, it might not fire straight away because it's on a cycle.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where when you see it being effective on you, you kind of realize how to do it.
Yeah.
When you get one for yourself.
Yep.
But yeah, the laser one, I kind of agree. Like you see it flying around your own ship doing nothing. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy myself one of those.
Yeah. So when I played this on the PC years and years ago, I think it came out in 2011 or something.
2012.
There you go. So a long time ago. So when I first played it, I actually downloaded a cheat thing for it, to my everlasting shame, to unlock all of the ships because I wanted to try them all, and I sucked. So I was never going to unlock them. And I found a ship that was kind of like, there's a stealth one, which I thought was super nifty. So that was my favorite ship from way back when. And there's a dream that one day I unlock it, but I don't think I will. So I just have fun memories.
I think I've unlocked that ship. The problem with it is it doesn't have any. It doesn't start with any shields.
It's because shields are weak, then.
So you have to time the cloaking, and then it cloaks for a period of time where you're untargetable, and then you are kind of out in the open again.
Yeah, good.
So you really got to hope that you've destroyed them in that time. But I mean, a lot of this game comes down to power management, right? Like you're not just buying different lasers. Often you'll just have the ones you start with. And potentially any you come across while salvaging. But your main upgrade comes from buying more power potential for your ship, or buying more...
And for your systems,
And for your systems, exactly. So making your doors sturdier. So if they board you, they're not going to get through as fast, or fire's not going to spread as quickly. And I found that was another layer of strategery.
It's actually the thing I found... It's the thing I found frustrating was that... all I wanted at the beginning was more power, and they very rarely sell you that. It's kind of like the ones that I got tended to be rewards for stuff.
You know, you can upgrade your own power at any time, right?
No.
Holy shit! Yeah, so blew his mind.
If you're not in combat, you can just go to ship, and you can add power to your reactor.
Now I know why you were finding this game so hard.
And And you can increase your system's strength, which then obviously requires more power as well.
Wow! So it turns out I was just fluking any success that I got. That's good to know.
You were playing with quite the handicap.
Because in some ships you start off with not enough power to run. You might start off with 3 guns, but you only have enough power to run 2 of them at a time.
Yeah, I almost always turned off my med bay.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So that's a thing. Okay. So there's obviously not a deep tutorial for the game, and this is obviously a little bit of a failing. I remember you guys know a mate of mine, Jones, listener of the show. I think we've given him shit before. So now to give him some more shit, we were playing some World of Warcraft, and he'd never really played an MMO before. He was new to them. He was new to being a nerd, and it was very exciting. And we were like level 10 in World of Warcraft, and we joined up, and we are just starting, and it was all adorable. And I looked at his warrior, and I noticed he's just hacking and slashing. I'm like, mate, use some of your abilities. And he's like, use what? And I'm like, your abilities you got from leveling up. He's like, I don't know what that means. And this is that moment. This is that moment for you, Josh.
Yeah.
And you should know better.
I think I should know better.
Did you play the tutorial, or did you not because you'd played it years ago? Or
yeah, I mean, honestly, I probably knew this last time years ago, and this time was all hubris. Jump back in without any tutorial. Yeah, well, that's nice to know. Maybe I'll get back into it again after we finish recording.
Maybe while we're still recording, you can just hear in the background, ding, ding.
Speaking of the music, what did you guys think of the music and the sounds in this game? I thought it was very calming a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it has the drama in the right spots. which is, I mean, ultimately what you need from a video game soundtrack.
I don't know how to explain it. It's electro synth. Let's go with that, with my utter misunderstanding of music terms. But it's very tranquil, and it kind of matches the tranquility of space when you're out of combat. And then when you get in, it's all dramatic and there's lasers and sounds. Was that a sound from the game?
I think that was someone's FTL drive spinning up.
Oh, cool.
Or a train going past my house.
Okay. Yeah, could be either. Who knows? I don't know. We live in the future.
So yeah, a lot of the game is you're saving up to buy scrap. Josh, next time you play, you can upgrade your systems. Because there's the.
I was waiting for stores.
Yeah. Because you can upgrade your sensors, so you can see where enemies are on the ship, on the enemy ship, so you can sort of target them better. All those the slug units do provide that kind of look as well. Doors, as we mentioned, let you barricade against fire, prevent boarders from breaking through your rooms as quickly. Also, so you can sort of vent. One of the best things is you can vent parts of your ship into space.
Like venting. I'm a big venting fan.
If someone boards you or if someone creates a fire on your ship, you can just sort of vent those areas out.
Yeah, I remember discovering that strategy and just being like, I am the most clever person that has ever existed.
You saw it in that Simpsons episode where they vent all the ants out.
Yeah, exactly. I also saw it where Catherine put you in the airlock and vented you out into space.
That's right.
I thought we didn't talk about that anymore.
I like to bring it up at least once every second episode. Yeah, we're done.
Well, if you want to prevent us from getting vented into space, you could go to patreon.com/NFGlive and help support the show.
Will we get vented if they don't? Is that a thing?
Well, we might be able to, with your donation, $1, $2, $3, $5, we could upgrade our systems and make sure our airlocks don't vent us into space.
We can strengthen our blast doors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe upgrade our shields. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep. I hope you're happy.
So head on over to patreon.com/NFGlive and support the Game Club podcast.
Nice. Just slipped it in.
Yeah. If you got this deep into the episode, you're hopefully enjoying it. So,
or you hate yourself.
All we ask is that you honestly consider it, given that support, and we'll get back to the show. How about that? That sounds like a fair deal.
Sounds like a good deal. Do we want to talk about things we would like to have improved with the game? Anything we would change?
All right, Mr. Game Developer Designer Guy.
Now's your time to shine.
Well, it's interesting because I really have a different game design mindset now working in free to play. And it's really interesting, like going back and trying to think of what would it be like if I was still making games that are supposed to be fun? Well, I can't say that in public.
I can just imagine you get to the store and it's like missile launcher for 25 scrap. You're like, morons. They could have charged people $2 for this.
Yeah, kind of. Which is, I don't know, like it's across the whole kind of spectrum of my career. It's been coming to understand how to do that, that gamification and monetization stuff without it being shit gameplay. But yeah, a lot of my thoughts that kind of immediately instinctively happen are around kind of, but how would we do this if this was a mobile game? And yeah, it's kind of nice to turn it around and be like, actually, like that, that fuel, buying extra fuel, for instance, is quite cheap, and that really just facilitates it encourages that how to cover the one sector before having to jump to the next sector, and you kind of realize that you can buy enough fuel to do that without it being a big problem. Whereas I think that'd be that's a standard pinch point that you would look at squeezing people for, as it were.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the rebel ships coming after you, and so you've only got X amount of jumps before you have to wait a period of time before you can do more jumps. Or you can refer a friend, and that'll get you more jumps.
Yeah.
If you share it on Facebook, that's where you get your jumps.
I don't know if referring a friend really happens all that much anymore, but there's definitely watch an ad to do it, which is
I know my stepmother does it every now and again on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm not cruel enough to get rid of it yet.
Don't know that it works.
Yeah. It does not. I have never played Candy Crush when she wanted me to. I'm my own person. I have my own mind.
Is that why you have 2 Facebook accounts so that she can send it to your other Facebook account?
Maybe that's why I did it. Oh no, it's out. My secret's out. I found out. Well, actually, it's against the rules to have 2 Facebook accounts. You're not meant to do it, and I don't really know how to access my old one anymore. So I'm just going to leave it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Whoops. What about you, Dan? Anything you'd improve?
Apart from, well, I'd like to say make it easier, but that's not really the point of
Right.
this
I was
game.
thinking that, and I'm like, that's a cop out.
Having said that, though, it is just that despite having sunk 125 hours into it, I still haven't beat the game on normal. I have unlocked a bunch of the ships.
Yep.
And I've come very close, and I've seen other people play. I've watched, Twitches and whatnot, play this game heaps, and I'm like, oh, okay, I understand a lot of the fundamental theory behind it, but there are some times where you are on a roll, and you're like, yeah, I've gotten all this cool stuff. I've got the teleporter. I got this. I got that, and you get to that final boss fight against the big rebellion ship, which is a tough fight.
It's a hard fight,
and
easy.
The closest I got in normal was I died at the same time as the rebellion ship, and I failed.
Did you table flip?
Almost, yeah. If my table wasn't sort of bolted into the floor, I definitely tried. I flexed, but that's about as far as I got. And then realized that I'm weak and I have to go back to easy.
Yep. Wow, that's rough. I would also love it to be a little easier because I just want to unlock more cool ships and do cool things. Something that I'd like to see in it is you kind of make ethical choices. So you'll come to a ship or a system, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, an instance, and there's a ship there saying, help, we've run out of fuel, we're stranded, if you can come and help us, that'd be great. And then if you do, they reward you, or maybe you go and they're just pirates and they're ambushing you. It'd be great if there was some kind of ethical consideration to it. So if you don't give them food, I guess there's no penalty. Nothing bad happens. But I guess that's real life too. So
I guess it's one thing that I thought of actually, like adding the idea of persistence, like having things that carry through, themes that carry through, people that you bump into again, or races that you can it's like, oh, you helped our guys back in the thing. Yeah, and there were a little bit of that with the quests.
There were quests. So every now and again, like you'd get a quest and it would be super random and they're very rare. But every now and again, you get that quest and it'd be that continuation of narrative that would last for, I don't know, 2 sectors or something more than one instance. But yeah, a bit more of that would be awesome. And if you could, I don't know, if you were really mean to the Mantis people or whatever, they then held a grudge and that kind of stuff. So that'd be rad. But once again, it's a neat little package, so you can only expect so much from it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you could you could get early rewards and shoot yourself in the foot later, and vice versa. That kind of risk reward is always a good idea to add to a game.
Yep,
almost always.
Almost always, as opposed to the randomness, I think, which surrounds a lot of this game.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where I got the quest for the crystal. I got the quest to unlock the crystal ship, where you got to take a crystal egg somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But then I think I chose the path that then didn't have that, or I just never ran into that where I was meant to take it. So it is that randomness, and it is annoying. But like Josh said earlier, it is very much a game where you die and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna start again because I'm watching something or I'm doing something at the same time, and it's very easy to just start again. Okay, I'm back in it now. I'm gonna try the rock ship this time.
Yep.
And I did find kind of supplementary to that is the I felt like it was quite story light. Like, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Especially playing it again, so I don't know what I missed in any intros or anything, but this being chased by the rebellion, getting kind of some intel away from the something, it didn't really contribute very much at all. And I didn't get a sense, like a lot of these kind of space opera shows, shows and games, I guess, like the Mass Effects, that you really get a sense of what the races are and how their personalities work and how their culture works, and even just the different factions. And this didn't really give much of that at all.
Yeah, there is there, but you have to come across it piecemeal and over many, many plates.
Right.
Like you find out that the Mantis people, you kind of learn that there might have been some kind of war previously with them, and a lot of the time if you come up against one, sometimes you can just be like, oh, we'll just ignore them, or we'll try and talk to them. But almost always, if it's a mantis ship, they will try and kill you. Or if you have slugs on your ship, sometimes you have an option to just mind control someone and get through a security checkpoint. So I think, there is certainly some of it there, but you have to scratch deeper, and you can't even intentionally do that because it's so random what events you're going to get.
Maybe it's just a soak in it thing. Yeah.
Just bathe in that space juice.
That sparse story.
Yeah. Make your own story. Why not? Amazing.
So overall, I would definitely recommend this game since I've sunk 125 hours into it.
I really hope so. That'd be really sad if you didn't.
Did you end up playing this on iPad, Charles? Because I know you were considering it.
I certainly did. So I've now gone deep into the world of iPads, and I'm iPadding everything I can. And I played on the iPad, and it was great. I really enjoyed the touch mechanics to it because, once again, I get more. It's more visceral, I suppose. I feel a lot more interactive with my little ship systems and whatnot when you're touching them. It's almost like being in a cockpit and touching the buttons and touching your people and sending them around places. So that was great. So I'd recommend it on iPad for sure, although I don't think you can do the cheat where you get all the ships on the iPad. So take that into account.
Talk to the Russians. They have cut open almost every game.
Yeah, so true. And I really enjoyed it. So I would certainly recommend this game. As roguelikes go, I think it's one of the best ones out there. And as a really polished, sharp indie title, I would say that everyone who enjoys indie games should play this. So that's my thoughts.
Cool. How about you, Josh?
Well, I mean, I remember liking it at the time, and I don't really know why I stopped playing, but after just kind of rekindling my interest yesterday and today, I think I'll keep going. So that's an endorsement, and especially now that I've finished up my other space game, I can sink into it a bit more.
Because you can only have one space game at a time. I mean, you don't want to overspace.
No. That'd be crazy.
That'd be horrible.
All right, well, let's head on into our next segment, which is game recommendations.
Ooh, I have good preparation for this one, though.
Excellent. Okay, I have terrible prepreparation.
All right, we'll start off with Josh and hope we run out of time before we get to Charles.
So there's a couple of mobile games that are quite good. There's one called Out There, which is it's quite similar in structure, except that you don't have combat. So it's a lot more, there's kind of just touching on dialogue moments and making a choice either way. But it has a lot more of that, each choice probably has an up and a downside, and you kind of, it does have a lot more of that kind of moral flow through it. And it also has an interesting kind of mechanic where you interact with aliens, like you land on a planet and you can't understand them, they're just talking gibberish, and you can kind of try and do an interaction and try and give them a gift or whatever it is, and usually what you come out with is one or two words of their language translated for you for the rest of of your journey. And so then later on you bump into them again and it's like, we need fuel, and you're like, oh, cool, I'll give you fuel, and then you're friends. And the first time you bumped into them, you would never have, you'd never have known that.
So it's like the mechanic that No Man's Sky had, but actually good and not a heaping piece of shit. Sounds wonderful.
Cool. Yeah. So that's called Out There. Out There Amiga Edition is the new one. It's it seems like a buffed version. And then kind of sort of similar, another mobile game called Lifeline, where it's basically you get contacted by this person who has kind of woken up in stasis, and they, like, in real time they will send kind of, hey, help, I need to do this thing, but I don't know which button to press. Do you have any idea on how to do it? And you go, yeah, and then you wait 4 hours and come back.
Perfect.
So it's kind of
That's what I like out of my game.
Well, it's kind of like The Martian, where he had to send the messages back and forth.
And it's more like you're kind of having, you've got a pen pal who's in space.
I see. That's awesome.
And yeah, like you eventually there's this character called Taylor, and you're just trying to help she survive.
So they've used the whole time delay mechanism of mobile games, but actually made it a part of the story instead of an infuriating device like Clash of Clans.
Yep.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah, that's really clever.
Yeah, so that's kind of a little neat thing.
That was Lifeline, was it?
Yeah, Lifeline. So I think that's mobile as well.
We'll have to chuck links to those. That sounds really cool.
And then just a little quick extra one.
Yeah, we'll go. This is my one. This counts as my one.
Okay. So the thing that Charles told me about one time is a game called Defect, which is made in Melbourne. And basically you piece together your ship. It's like a constructor, and then you fly it around and do kind of sort of similar like space stuff, moving from sector to sector, doing battles. But you've really controlled like where the engines are and how powerful they are and where the guns are and all that sort of stuff. And after a while, after a certain amount of success, your crew will mutiny because you're rolling the high life now, and that ship just becomes an enemy in the system.
Did we see this at PAX? Was this one of the games at PAX that I played very briefly?
It's been around for a while. Like like a lot of indies, it's kind of taken a bit of developing to get here.
Yep.
But I think it was like a couple of years ago. It was
launched, PAX or maybe Rising,
maybe.
Yeah.
And so
maybe not. Could be a completely different game.
Basically, you build a defect into your own ships so that you know how to beat them when you come up against them.
Oh, that's clever.
So after they have defected, you find the defect and you blow it up.
Oh, it's on so many levels.
Yep, genius. So that's a good one as well.
Good one, Charles.
I know. I'm looking at my game that I suggested that Josh expanded on in Steam now, and one of the examples of the ships that a guy's built is like a little Death Star, and it's got a big gap in the middle where you can put a missile straight into its core.
Yeah,
which looks wonderful. So
that's
there you
perfect.
go. Wonderful.
All right. For the final game recommendation, it's one that is very, very different in terms of gameplay. So obviously, FTL, you play top down, you click. It's very mobile friendly. Game I want to recommend though is one that we played for a little while and had a great amount of fun with. Pulsar: The Lost Colony.
Yeah, we need to play more of that. It's got potential.
It was in beta when we played it, so it's very early days, but you and 3 friends are the crew of a ship, and it's very much like the sort of Star Trek-esque kind of thing where one of you's assigned as the pilot, one of you's the engineer. Actually, I think you could have 5 people, so you got your captain, pilot, engineer, science officer, and your gunner.
Yeah.
What's the platform?
It's on Steam. It's on PC.
Didn't we make you download this? Maybe we never got there.
I know we played it with Catherine and Emma. And possibly Ash. So the captain can sit in his like swivelly captain chair, and they're the one that can make decisions, but it's up to your science officer to open the comm. And your pilot does the piloting, and your gunner guy's better at being on turrets, and then occasionally, and you jump from sort of system to system like you do in FTL, and occasionally you'll run into enemies. You might have dialogue with them that comes up on the vid screen, kind of like in Star Trek.
In the ship, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's in the ship, so it's first person, and occasionally you'll be on a planet. You'll come up. There'll be a planet there, and you can all choose to teleport down. So you go to the teleport area, you teleport down to the ship. You get your science officer to scan the ship first. So do we need hazmat suits?
Yeah.
And then you go down and you shoot. There might be spiders, or there might be a quest down there, or whatever. It was still early days, so there was some of the content sort of repeated a fair few times. But if they've added to it since then, and you've got some friends who you'd want to play with, it definitely worth dropping a bit of money on.
We might need to look at it as a game that we actually podcast in a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be great,
yeah.
Especially like maybe even if we record a session, just because you end up saying, you do all those Star Trek things that the Star Trek VR is sort of promoting now, where you're like, all right, engineer, I need, you're in the bridge, but then you're like, oh, I need you to get to the reactor core and change the levels, more power to the
shut
shields.
It all down, and it's pretty
we need to run dark or whatever, little things like that. Really, really cool. So very much like FTL, where you've got your crew and you tell them where to be and whatnot.
I think we've got Josh's attention, so I think we'll be playing that with Josh in the near future.
I am keen.
Maybe just replace Catherine from our crew.
Yeah, she wasn't the best crew, but there's room for more. But maybe we'll replace her with Josh anyway.
I do feel like she airlocks people willy-nilly.
She does.
That's true, yeah.
I don't think it was an airlock. She was pretty devastated about it.
All right. Well, so we're going to head on into the final part of the podcast, which is the quiz.
It's the quiz.
Oh, shit.
Yes. Quiz.
I forgot that there was a quiz. Oh,
There's
I'm
a
so
quiz.
excited now.
Surprise quiz.
So I've come up with a list of aliens, and you have to name the game that they're from.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
And so we've got a couple here, and Josh, you it's whoever can call it out first, I guess, and it's whoever I hear first.
Cool.
So I'm going to say the name of the alien and a bit about them, but you can sort of jump in at any time.
Yep.
All right. Necromorphs are mutated and reanimated corpses reshaped into
Dead
horrific.
Space?
Yeah, Dead Space.
Boo.
First one for Josh.
One times point.
Okay. Back in the game.
Each one's worth 3 points.
Oh, cool.
All right. Question number 2. The Zerg swarm is a terrifying and ruthless...
StarCraft. Oh, well
Josh
played,
again.
Well played.
Oh, I like quizzes.
I like quizzes too.
6 points to Josh, 0 to Charles.
That's cool.
Known for their militaristic and disciplined culture, the Turians were the third
Mass
race to join...
Yep. Okay, well that's unfair. He's been playing Mass Effect, and you know I hate the Mass Effect series. Nope, that's fine. Well, there's still a chance for me to come back, maybe, I hope.
All right.
Because you just need to do that thing where the last round is worth $1 million.
Yeah, that won't cheapen it at all.
The Chozo were an ancient and highly advanced race of sage-like avian sentients that inhabited several planets in the cosmos.
I don't know, Star Trek.
The Chozo. No, I don't know.
I'll give you a hint.
Oh, Doctor Who?
No, it's a video.
That's something
This is a
kids
video
should
game
It's a
series.
video game thing.
Oh, it's
It
video
is a
game.
video game series.
Oh, okay. Well, that would have helped to know at the start.
So, an avian race. The main character in the game has some Chozo DNA.
I think it's just better if we move on, Dan.
And is
The
a
vibe I'm getting.
bounty hunter.
Oh, is it Metro Prime?
It is Metroid.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Points for Charles. Was that one worth 9 points?
I'd say it's worth 2 points.
Oh, I'll take it.
I'll give
I'm
you
desperate.
3 points. No, we'll give you 3 points.
Yes.
Okay. Lunatone and Sol Rock are said to have come from space and to draw their power from lunar and solar rays, respectively.
Oh, jeez. Pokemon?
It is Pokemon.
Oh,
My goodness.
what? I thought you would ask. I didn't know the question was finished. Damn it.
You don't
They're
have
both
to wait,
known-
Josh. You don't have to wait.
That's right.
How do you like them apples?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
They are both known as
good.
meteorite Pokemon.
Ah, what a boss. I'm getting the hard ones, just saying.
So it's
Yeah, you got Zerg. Good job, Josh.
Josh is on 9, Charles
got it
is on
fast.
6.
Speed isn't always what counts. All right, here we go.
All right. The Draenei are a faction of
Warcraft.
Oh,
That was me. That was 100% me. Not that I care much. I don't know, whatever.
All right.
It's definitely Charles.
But they
We got a
Charles.
bonus. We got a bonus question
Here we
that you're
go.
probably not going to be able to get,
I think it's
but
a
it's worth
decider.
1 million points.
Yep, here we go.
And then if that fails to break the tie, I do have another one.
Oh, thank good.
The 1997 movie Event Horizon may be a prequel to which space-set gaming franchise?
Oh,
Half-Life?
No.
is it System Shock?
No.
Oh,
Horizon.
I'm picturing it. Doom?
It turns out,
Quake.
in Event Horizon, the hyperdrive took its crew into a cosmic horror dimension that killed them all, and then they came back changed by the experience.
Dead Space?
Oh, no, it wouldn't do one that's already been done, surely.
No. That'd be crazy.
Space games where they're changed. No, I got nothing.
It may be an unintentional prequel to Warhammer 40k.
Oh, I have seen that theory before. That's not a computer game, Dan. You had me on a line.
It's a gaming franchise. Anyway, all right.
Okay.
For the last to decide,
it's a peasant theory, by the way. Real 40k gamers don't think that. It's a bit of a joke, but whatever. That's fine.
We're going to go back and forth, and you're going to have to. It's kind of like categories. You're going to have to name me a race from the FTL game, and we're going to go back and forth until one of you can't get them.
Okay. Yep. Humans.
So Charles with humans.
Mantis.
Yep.
NG.
Yep.
Crystal.
Crystal is one.
Slug.
Slug is one.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
I think
the glowy one. The glowy one. Cora Blob.
Charles.
The rock people.
Oh yeah, I'll give you Rockman.
Yes.
So Charles comes ahead with one extra one on that.
What was the glowy people called?
The Zoltan.
I was close. Cora Blob. I was close.
You were close. I'll give you 1 point, but it's not worth the 1,000,000 that I got. Yes. I won a quiz for the first time maybe ever. I'm so satisfied with myself, and I came from behind.
Damn it.
Quizzing.
Yes.
I really let this slot in the roster down.
Yes. If you think that Josh should have won the quiz, maybe you can tweet at him. Josh, what is your tweet score?
I'm at Josinabox, Josinabox.
And
Charles, if they want to congratulate you on your quiz victory.
Well, my Twitter's not nearly as catchy. It's just at Charles Prize. But maybe I'll add a box in there. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
And if you have interesting quiz ideas, send them to me at Game Club Cast, the official Twitter of our Game Club podcast. Next fortnight on Game Club,
we are going to play Prison Architect.
Ooh.
Yeah, so another indie game on the indie game train. Prison Architect received a lot of fanfare, and there's even been a couple of games that have sort of copied its style. But
Rimworld
Charles, I know you're
all
about just the justice system and incarceration.
I am. I love that people go to jail. Satisfies me on a deep level.
Are you going to get it on? Are you going to get it on iPad? Is there an iPad version?
Yeah, so I've got it on PC, but if there, I don't know. But if there is, yes, I will get on that because that's kind of a thing that I do now. Because convinced me to.
Considering Prison Architect is kind of according to their video, filled with kind of crazy bugs and kind of fun nonsense stuff, like people spontaneously catching on fire or eating their dinner off the shower floor or whatever.
Sounds wonderful.
Does that not break your sensibilities if you're looking at everything being well constructed justice system?
No. My justice system could be wacky and full of whimsy. I'm fine. Cool. As long as justice is being served.
Yeah. Cartoon justice, I suppose.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Well, Josh, do you think we'll have you back, or do you think Catherine will actually play the game this time and we'll get her back on this?
She's played this one before, actually. So
she'll be able to cheat. Sneaky Catherine.
Well, I think what will be interesting, actually, if she does do it, is that she played it right when it came out a lot, and then kind of got upset with how unpolished and unfinished it was. So I wonder if it's really shined itself up in the last however many years, maybe a couple of years.
Whether it's still unpolished and unfinished, and she just has to live with it.
Just suck it up. That is the discovery. We will soon find out. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Josh.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks again, Josh. Josinabox for coming on the podcast. Please let us know if you've got some game club recommendations. We can play some future games. Until next time, I've been your prison warden, Dan.
We're architect thieving already. I've been your very badly built prison architect, Charles.
And I don't know. I could be a prisoner. I'll be a prisoner, Josh.
Good for you.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.